Brilliant. Okay then, over to Noah. Please kickstart the show.
Thank you, Guy, and thank you all for being here. It's great to have such a big turnout in this very monumental session. Now, I'll start with a little bit of housekeeping. As usual, the session is recorded, as the lovely woman at the beginning of the call announced. Throughout the session, please remain muted, except during the question and answers, and show acknowledgement instead with your thumbs or through the chat box. And if during the Q&A you wish to speak, you can use the little, raise your hand feature within Zoom, or just physically raise your hand and someone within our team will pick you out and open the floor to you to ask the question. And we will not be doing any breakouts. This is not going to be as interactive a session as many others, because we have a lot of content to get through. And the content we'll start with the GDS Academy. The guy will kick us off there just to give us a little bit of background information. Then we'll follow with a little conversational interview between Guy, Tamara, and Flavie. Then we'll cover a little bit more detail about the actual courses and some of the partners, the delivery partners with whom we seek to implement and create some of the content for the GDS Academy. And then in the second half of the session, we'll go a little bit more detail into the GDS-Index, looking at what specific criteria have changed, how they've changed, and this will be led by my colleague, Rebecca Johnson. And then we'll close with a brief Q&A and then also some next steps. All right, without any further ado, Guy, over to you.
Brilliant. So so super exciting to delve into the GDS-Index and what's happening there, but really exciting to launch the Academy, right? So let me share my screen. Cool. Okay. So it's a big day for us. It's kind of, for me, it's a big day. I kind of, a few years ago, I was on a plane in South Africa, and I sat next to someone, and I'm explaining what we do and how we work with you guys, and how you guys are doing so many amazing things around the world. And I thought, we've really got to come up in a way to really capture more of that knowledge and share it, and in a way to unlock that collective intelligence. And this person said to me, why don't you, set up an academy? And I said, that would be really great. Yeah, let's do that. So it's taken a few years to get off the ground. And now with the help of European Cities Marketing, with Flavie and ICCA and Tamara has done a great job, and Graeme and Genevieve and Meet for Impact and the Travel Foundation, we finally got there. So really, this is a big moment to launch this, and we really want to catalyze a regenerative future. That's what we're standing for. That's what we want to help you guys do, and that's what we see this amazing opportunity that tourism and the events industry creates to us. So our focus is on creating and sharing and co-creating new regenerative frameworks, to enabling that collaboration, and then really building the capacity within each of ourselves and yourselves and your destinations. So our goal is, how can we help to facilitate this growth, learning and development? How can we bring in really good design thinking processes and co-creation? And how can we just create really amazing, extraordinary or out of the ordinary learning experiences? So that's what was our kind of vision. And that's kind of where we're at now. So we are creating a training program that is for you as individuals, as professionals, but it's also for you to roll out, and there's courses for you to roll out within your organizations, so across the DMO, and also other courses that are focused for you to roll out to your destination partners. So whether that's the municipality, or whether that's the hotels or venues or communication agencies, we have different kind of approaches and courses. But it's very much focused on the DMO and you guys, and then for you to roll out. So the tools for you. We spent a long time researching, thinking about learning, and I'm really delighted to have had Milda joined the team, and Milda's done an amazing job at really thinking about how we best do this. Many of you know Milda from her time at IMEX. Maybe you know her from time in Denmark before there. And she's done an amazing job at really putting us into shape and bringing this out. So I would like to extend a special thank you to Milda for the great work. And so we've really focused on creating these blended learning experiences that bring in dynamic, interactive sessions that we've kind of been sharing with you, like we do in Feeling the Pulse, with more formal education style online, with a really fantastic learning management system, pre-recorded videos, and of course, with some of the best faculty in the world. So we have lots, as well as the GDS team, we have different faculty who are going to be coming in from the partners, from external experts, and from yourselves. We are currently inviting many of you and many of the destinations that you represent to participate, because we think the magic is in this in collective intelligence. So we have kind of two key formats, right? So the first format I'd like to share with you is the certificate program. So this is a program designed for you guys, right? It's a high level, kind of in-depth program, certificate program. I kind of think of it as like the CMP for destination regeneration. It is a 16-week program, so it's an intensive program that covers 10 different areas of how to create, manage, and steward a destination in a more regenerative fashion. So we go all the way from the kind of concepts of regeneration through looking at leadership styles, and we have people such as Ed Gillespie, a director of Greenpeace and a real leadership guru, working with that, to impact strategy, which is Genevieve and the Meet for Impact team. Democracy with Peter Encina working on that with us. Building capacity, so input from GSTC and the certification brands. Great input from different destinations on that. Through to smart tourism, some really interesting input from Gothenburg. Funding futures, again, some great work we've done there. We're sharing with Civitas and Group Now. Events as a driver, good, looking at our regenerative My Strategies, the work that's been done with IMEX. Storytelling, which are wonderful, Melissa's leading, again with Ed Gillespie. And then theory to practice, the reality of just taking this in. So a lot of work. It's going to be tough, it's hard, but you'll come out with an amazing learning experience and a certificate. And it's all built around a project as well. So super exciting. So that's the first level. The second level are what we call the master classes. So again, these are more deep dive courses. They're focused on kind of 4 main modules. And these are our initial 4. These are not the only ones, but this is what we're launching with. So, and the guys are going to explain this a little bit more. So there's impact strategy measurement. I'll let Jessica explain that in a minute. Planning for recovery and resilience, which we're doing with the Travel Foundation. Graeme's going to explain that. Storytelling for regeneration is what Melissa's leading. Melissa's got 20 years working in the professional kind of sustainability and comms world. And so she put a great program together there. And that's designed to help your experienced marketers, either you or your team of comms professionals, upskill. So we take experienced people and take them to become regenerative communication professionals. And then the last, and storytelling for generation could be for the DMO, but you can also roll that out nicely to your supply chain partners as well. Regenerative event management is really is the kind of sustainable event management on steroids, and that's for more people that have done event management and want to go to the next level. So if you're a DMO that does event management, it could be some of your people on that, but this could be a great one to roll out. So these courses can be rolled out as either open enrollment, some of the courses, but some of the courses also can be, bought and contracted to go in destination. So yeah, So that's the key thing. For more information, we invite you to go to GDS.Earth. That gives you a little summary and then takes you to our learning management system, which Milda has built on top of the Thinkific platform. And so, great. And here you'll be able to see the courses. You will be able to see how they'll work, be able to click on them. And then this becomes your kind of dashboard, your mission control. This is where all of the content will be. This is where pre-recording sessions will be. This is where you get the Zoom links to the live sessions. So we've made a really big focus. There's a lot of focus at the moment on pre-recorded learning, and there's loads of courses and they keep coming out. And we don't think that's the right way. Having worked a lot on this and worked a lot with my time at MCI, rolling out education to over 2,800 people, we learned that a blended experience is the right approach. And so that's what we focused on here. And so this is where you get the information. So that's it. My time is up. So super excited to share that. You're going to get a bit more in a second. And right now, I'd like to invite kind of Tamara and Flavie to the floor to join me and to talk a little bit about our collaboration that we're doing. Please feel free to ask questions in the chat box, and we've got some time at the end for questions as well. So, great. Fantastic. So, Flavie, so maybe just to keep this easier for you to see, if you, maybe everyone that is not speaking, turn off your video now, and then just Flavie and Tamara, keep your video on. And then that way you can just see the other guys. Great. So thank you very much, Tamara and Flavie, for your great work in helping us get here and the kind of the partnership that we've got. Got a couple of questions. I'd like to get your perspectives. And so first, really to Tamara. I'm just interested from an ICCA kind of point of view, because you have such a global perspective. How are you seeing this the recovery process opening right now? What's your feeling?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here, Guy and Milda and the team, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone who's on this call. This is very exciting. When it comes to recovery, it's very hard to give you one unified answer, Guy, because as you said, ICCA is very global, so we touch on all regions. We are seeing that there is a difference between the regions. Unfortunately, some regions are moving faster. In Europe, which is where I am based, we are really excited to see that the vaccination rate is accelerating and things are opening up, whether this is public activities and business re-emerging. So that's very exciting. And in some other regions, we do still see them, going back into those third, fourth waves. I think from our perspective, it's very important that we do keep our industry very unified. So we are trying to stay as connected as we can and still bring opportunities to our membership and our associations community to come together online in meetings and still feel that we are all, in this together, and we don't want to create this feeling of one region kind of, still behind. But we are very much looking forward to hopefully end of year bringing better news for all of us with our Congress in plan for end of October. So stay tuned for more information.
Fantastic. And that's a good point, because we're really looking forward where we do as well as the announcing the results of the GDS-Index somewhere in the Congress program. We'll also be announcing the awards. So we've got some work to do to plan that, but we will be launching the award application process. Good. Yeah. Flavie, I'm interested from ECM's perspective. Really, we've seen some nice green shoots of recovery here, and it comes and goes, but what's your view on how sustainability is coming into the agenda of European DMOs?
Yeah, thank you. I would like also to reiterate our big thanks to you, Guy, and to the GDS team, Noah and Milda, among others, for this great collaboration. And we are so excited here for this, for this launch. And yeah, I mean, sustainability is, more than ever at the core of the DMO's, perspective. We as ECM, we started earlier to work on, integrating sustainability little by little, also in our strategy, some like 2-3 years ago. And, we sort of saw this trend of replacing, okay, the more meetings we have, the better, with more work on, purpose of the meetings, legacy, and then enhancing, the benefits of those congresses and meetings for the locals, and etc. And then we have seen that COVID has accelerated this trend, and we left this growth behind. And now we, as ECM, we feel that, all the DMO, they need to take responsibility now. So we've been, integrated sustainability in all our conversation, all of our events have been also reshaped with this dimension. And we think that, the cities, they have to play this big role for this positive transformation and to work with, to work on a more resilient future. So whether it's social, economic, environmental, and also, democratically, as you were saying, Guy. Just 2 interesting figures I would like to share with you from one of our surveys where we, surveyed our DMOs in terms of crisis 6 months ago. 89% said that this crisis will lead to a more sustainable future. So that's very, very important to hear and very reassuring as well. And 2/3 of the DMOs also found more purpose and relevance, in this crisis, in their role of, co-innovator and facilitator with the stakeholders. So definitely those, our DMOs, they have a key role to play, and sustainability is here to stay.
Fantastic, fantastic. Exciting times. You're really disrupted times. I think disruption is going to happen much faster than we've ever imagined. For that reason, I think education is one of the key things. And it needs to be so dynamic because we're going to have to be making stuff up as we go along. And that's the concept here. So Tamara, from ICCA's point of view, why are you in the partnership? What are you looking for, and what do you hope to get out? And what's your side of the story?
Well, for those of you who don't know, Guy and I have been talking for a while now, so I just feel elevated to be finally seeing this partnership lift off. It's really exciting. And I think, I've been with ICCA for 14 months now, but I do remember as an ICCA member, before I joined ICCA as a staff, sustainability has always been a discussion in our industry. And as soon as I joined ICCA, I remember asking Senthil about this, our CEO, like, what is our take on sustainability? And I know that it's been something that was on the table for a while, trying to get the inside and outside to go into that sustainable route. So whether this is the way that we do things internally as an association at ICCA throughout all our regions, and whether these are the messages that we are sharing with our membership and putting into our content and education. So I think it's a really holistic view of things. We are trying to become more sustainable as an industry, and this is finally a great opportunity for us to collaborate and to really showcase that. And I think I agree with what Flavie just shared in terms of, those numbers. Yes, I believe that crisis does bring change, and this is one of those changes that we probably needed to be kicked into it a bit. So for many reasons, I do believe that COVID impacted us in a good way. So that's one of them.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you. And Flavie, from ECM's point of view, you're doing so much on this. How does the Academy complement and add to the ECM work?
Well, actually, yeah, the ECM, ECM is working a lot on this, on also education and also regeneration. We see that DMOs will have a big need for educations. We have seen, in this very same survey that I was mentioning, that 75% of the DMOs have been impacted, financially with this crisis, and 43 had, they had to take this big decision of, make people redundant. So all our resources, I mean, from the DMOs are stretched. So there is a big need for education. People are overloaded with work. With now also we can see that with the reopening and etc. So they need guidance. They need redirection. They need data. They need trends and etc. etc. They need to understand, how tourism and how the industry is recovering in terms of visitor sentiment, spending patterns, booking behaviors, and etc. And we are here as an association to guide them, to give them the key elements, and to really, take the right decision. And where the GDS Academy will play a big role as well is to bring, this solid education in terms of long-term and regenerative vision for the DMOs, and to also with the goal that is, we have the same goal to, to make our cities better places to visit, to meet, and to thrive in. So it's really also adding value to the destination, not only, promoting, but adding value to the destination. And this is where, we are completing each other in a very nice way.
Magic. And I love it how it brings alive some of the other work we've done, such as around the funding projects and things like that, and allows us a platform to bring those projects to life. So thank you very much, Tamara, Flavie, for your contribution. Maybe now I can ask Graeme and Jessica to join us. So maybe Graeme and Jessica, you can turn your camera on and join us here. What I really like to see is how this vision of taking the GDS program, the movement from just an events focused program to a holistic visitor economy program is happening now. And so, to add us, to really allow us to bring value onto the leisure side, we've been having some great conversations over the last while with the Travel Foundation, and Graeme and Jeremy have been really instrumental. So Graeme, over to you. And a little bit, maybe you can tell us a little bit about this course that we've been co-creating together and we're going to roll out.
Yes, thank you, Guy. Thanks for inviting us today to share with everyone. We've got a couple of minutes, so I'll keep things brief. But we at the Travel Foundation have always been very keen to find ways to support destinations to think more holistically around the impacts of tourism and optimize those in a very positive way for destination communities and of course visitors and the businesses that operate in those places. So it was very exciting having discussions with GDS about being able to scale some of our thinking and also integrate their unique perspectives on the MICE sector to support destinations with their recovery efforts. So we will be we're launching today this masterclass really built around a framework that we've developed and piloted in quite a few different places in the world, and it's great to be able to take this now through the academy, through the masterclasses, and scale it and offer it to you. Just building on some of the comments earlier, we know that it's really tough at the moment. Not only are DMOs being forced to think about COVID and the survival of their tourism sector, but also this sort of ever-present pressure to evolve into more management organizations. And so what we wanted to do with this program is really give you some very useful tools, some very useful methodologies, some very useful examples to be able to make really good decisions and mobilize what we know are very pressured, very limited resources in the right way. Ultimately, we also see COVID as an opportunity to rethink, to reset, to move forward in a positive way. But of course, how do we do that? What does better look like? So what we tried to really do with this program is to help you with thinking in a very structured way around recovery planning, recovery strategy, looking at things like how do we make sure tourism benefits local communities, better meets development priorities, adapts to changing market demands and future trends, and really paves the way for long-term resilience, inclusivity, and sustainable managed growth. As I say, we're very excited to be part of this. I think it's really a time for sharing, for collaboration, and I think bringing together the Travel Foundation's almost 20 years of experience working with destinations all around the world, with GDS's unique perspectives and knowledge, will really take this program to the next level. So we hope to have many of you sign up and to share this very useful program with you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Graeme. Fantastic. Now to another part of the world, to Jessica. Jessica, Meet for Impact. Can you tell us a little bit about this amazing masterclass that we've been co-creating?
I can. Kia ora and hello, everyone. Good evening from all the way down the bottom of the world in New Zealand. My name is Jessica, and I am one of the collaborators and faculty members for Meet for Impact. And of course, one of the offerings is our Impact Strategy and Measurement Masterclass. Look, I just first want to say, look, really delighted to be joining this session today, just to give you a very quick overview of the masterclass. But I also really want to echo what Guy and Graeme have already said. You know, we're really excited to be supporting destinations, not just with regenerative tourism, but through this entire recovery process. And we see, you know, providing and working through this academy is just going to provide amazing opportunities for the sector and for our industry to really grow. Now, I've only got a couple of minutes, so I'm just going to quickly run through a couple of the modules that we're offering as part of our masterclass. So there's actually 4 modules that make up our masterclass. We're doing an introduction to impact management and strategy. We're looking at how you can use the SDGs to drive impact. We're looking at measurement and reporting. And our 4th module is on impact management and strategy development. And this final module is actually an opt-in one, but what this one actually does is going to give the participants an opportunity to apply some of the practical skills that they've learnt through some of the other modules into their own destination and situation. Yeah, in terms of our course, it's really aimed at you, our destination professionals who are wanting to learn some of the latest social impact theories, approaches, frameworks that hopefully will help enable you to develop kind of a robust impact strategy and look at ways you can implement measurement processes to help monitor and report on performance. And I guess in terms of these modules as well, is what we're really wanting is for you to learn some of the key concepts around social impact. You know, what does it mean, how you can explore impact theory and apply some of this to your destination events and to your tourism sector. And as well as that, to be able to gain some insights on how to develop your own impact strategy and action plan. Now, one thing I do quickly want to mention, because I am able to confirm tonight that the first destination we're actually going to be working with is Belfast. So we're very excited to have the team on board. So welcome to Belfast. And look, thank you again. I won't carry on too much longer, but as I said, at Meet for Impact, we're really excited to be offering this masterclass. And if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them in the Q&A shortly.
Fantastic. Yeah, and we haven't quite got it signed. We've got another big NTO is just about to purchase a big group of classes we're going to roll out with that as well. So yeah, it's not just theory, it's happening. So fantastic. Thank you, Jessica. Amazing work. And I like the different angles of impact that you guys look at. So there's, you know, you have a look at impact from different way, the Travel Foundation to Meet for Impacts, and together really complementary. Great, we've got a couple of minutes for questions. If anyone's got any questions, anything you'd like to ask to me or to any of the rest of the team, please feel free to ask in the chat box or just come off mute and fire away. Okay, anyone want to be the first one?
I think you guys just presented too well. You covered everything.
Yeah. I do think, and I've already started to see, I really started to think we would have this skills shortage after COVID. A lot of people from our sector have left and have gone to other jobs or actually earning. My friends are earning more money and working less hard in other sectors. Not going to have so much fun, obviously, are they, as we do? But yeah, I know my hotelier friends and restaurant friends are saying they're already struggling to find people. So not only we need to poach, attract, and retain people better, we're going to have to take new people and train them up. So for me, it's a threat, it's a challenge, it's an opportunity. Okay, good. If there's no questions, well, I've got a minute more, so mate, I'm going to pick on someone. Melissa, you got a minute. Can I pick on you, please? Tell us a little bit about your wonderful storytelling masterclass.
Now, how did I guess that that was going to happen? Hello, everyone. And it's just so wonderful to hear firsthand the thinking behind this incredible co-creation that's taken place. So we have an incredible communications masterclass. It's all about regenerative storytelling, what makes up an effective story. You know, sustainability has been such an interesting field in terms of communications because it's been used as an adjective in so many ways, and we're missing so many wonderful opportunities to tell stories about impact. What is the difference between impact and legacy? How do you bring a sustainability strategy to life and make the destination, the event professionals live with that heart of that story? So we'll be looking at some effective ways to do that, from setting up communication blueprints to also what makes an effective story, exploring some wonderful case studies, and really kind of activating the storyteller within each of the marketing professionals that will be interested in this course. Did that do it, Chief?
Fantastic, Melissa, love it.
Jolly good.
And I hope we're going to have some of your poetry in that course as well.
Oh, well, I must just give a shout out to Ed Gillespie, who's going to be joining me. I mean, wow. In terms of faculty, you've got some very, very powerful people who are going to be presenting their stories and their incredible perspectives on how this narrative is changing lives. So,
yeah, and I think we're really lucky to have Ed. Ed is a director of Greenpeace. He's also a founder of Fruterra, the world's leading sustainability comms agency. He's a very accomplished poet and writer, and has a great podcast, if you like to read, which is in the top 10 of the iTunes listing, called the Future Notes. So we've got Future Notes. So we've got people like that, and many more to be signed up and confirmed. Great, that's me done. Welcome. Thank you very much for partners. And now I'll hand you over to the next super exciting bit, over to Rebecca. Over to you, Rebecca.
Morning, everyone. I'm just going to share my screen, have a presentation for you. Can you see my screen? Mm-hmm. Okay, yes. Always a good start. Thank you to everyone, first of all, for all the very interesting GDS Academy presentations. Congratulations, especially to Milda, for this really exciting project. So, as you're all aware, we opened the Omni platform last week and wanted to give you an overview of the changes to the criteria this year, as well as a refresher on the supports that will be available to all benchmarking destinations. So this year we have 71 criteria as opposed to the 69 last year. And the 4 categories that many of you will be familiar with remain the same. So we have environmental and social that correspond largely to municipality responsibilities, and the supplier and the destination management categories that are predominantly for the DMO to answer. We do have some subcategory additions, but not many. Largely the changes this year are with regard to improvement, we hope, in wording and guidance notes to give you more assistance there, and also in a shift in the DMO category towards DMO questions that will generate improved impact generation. So if we have a look at some of these in more detail, in the environmental performance, there are two new subcategories. One of them with regard to your signature to a global commitment to measure and reduce GHG emissions. So you have a wealth of opportunities to answer on that question. We'd like to give you a point if you are a member of any of those global commitments. We're also asking you about biodiversity strategies, whether or not you have one, and we're giving points depending on what that includes. In the social category, as usual, we will be drawing on external data, which is largely focused on national performance, as many of you will remember from last year. That's clearly marked within this category which questions you do and don't have to answer. So the ones that come from external data, we will be inputting that when all submissions have been entered in August. But for the ones that you need to answer on behalf of your city, we do have one additional question, which is SO11 for city engagement with the local community on important tourism topics. In the supplier category, there's just one additional question, and that is an extension of the sustainable food questions. So previously we were asking you about sustainable food programs for restaurants and caterers. We're extending that this year to include hotels as well. So as I mentioned before, for the DMO category this year, we have a small shift in the way that we're evaluating goal setting. This is to encourage destinations to produce objectives that indicate the change they want to see and within what time frame. So we are going to be looking for these impact objectives this year, and we'd also like to see the action plans and initiatives that correspond to those objectives. And we would also like to see what indicators you are using. So what are you measuring to understand whether or not that objective is achieved? And to complete the cycle, and this will give you the points for DM18 and 19, we also want to ensure that not only are you setting those objectives, managing an action plan, but that you're also collecting and you're aware of your results. So we do want to see that full cycle. And another important point to notice for the DMO category is that we have separated a lot of those questions out to look at tourism strategy and event strategy separately. So previously we were asking you lots of questions with regards to your tourism and event strategy, but we really want to make sure that there is a sustainability approach both for tourism and for events this year. So you will see a lot of those questions have been separated so that we can really focus in on that. Little bit more data on DM18 and 19. This has been amplified to focus on the use of data for strategy development. So previously we were asking you for DM18, are you measuring, monitoring and reporting on performance? This year we're separating that question to ask you if you are measuring and monitoring performance on one hand, and on the other hand, whether or not you are collecting and analysing data. So we want to be sure that this measuring and monitoring is actually producing information for you that can drive continual improvement in your strategy development. As a last point, then the very last question in the GDS-Index this year is the DM30 for legacy and social impact. So we've really extended the indicators in this question this year in order to enable us to evaluate the full extent of legacy and social impact programs that are taking place in your destination to bring benefit to the industry, but also to the destination as a whole. So that's an overview of the changes to the criteria this year. We also wanted to give you a refresher on the support that's available. So for those of you who are new, this will be new information, and we have a couple of new additions for support this year as well. So we have a YouTube channel. We invite you all to sign up to that, and you will find within the playlist section of that YouTube channel, there are a series of Omni tutorials that are very well explained, short and sweet tutorials that will help you to update your criteria. So do take a look at those if you're stuck on any particular point, because as you can see, they're only between 1 and 3 minutes long, and they really will help you with the technical side of the Omni platform. Actually, when you are answering your questions, hopefully some of you have been able to enter Omni already to see how the questions work, how you can update your data. There's actually a number of supports within the page for you. So first of all, you have the guiding notes. Within those guiding notes, there is a more detailed explanation of the question. There are also, where possible, we've included external websites that will give you additional support on how to answer the question. You also have this little question mark, which gives you a number of options for feedback for us on the general platform, but there's also an option there for you to ask us direct questions. So you don't have to go back to your email to send us a question. You can actually do it via the platform. And lastly, you'll see that we have a frequently asked questions section. We do ask you to have a look at this section because we do have a lot of frequently asked questions, and you're likely to find the answer to your question within that section. So do please revise the FAQ page. One of the most important aspects of that FAQ page is the benchmarking toolbox. Now, we sent you an email last week, which included a lot of the information, the support information that I'm telling you now, but namely, you will have the benchmarking toolbox in the email that you received last week. That really will be very helpful to you when you're entering your data for the GDS index. You have templates for submitting evidence. You have a guide for writing your sustainability policy. You have the GDS-Index 2021 criteria in Excel and PDF format. So a lot of you have asked for that already in Excel format. You will find that in the benchmarking toolbox. And you have a benchmarking PDF guide with lots of tips and tricks for inputting your data into the index and how to get the best out of your submission. New for this year is a LinkedIn page for benchmarking destinations. So that is entitled GDS Movement Community, Learn, Exchange, Regenerate. So we really welcome everybody to sign up to that community, share your best practice, share your learning, share your journey, and also share your approaches to the questions. If you have questions about how to answer, please share them on the LinkedIn channel. We will answer, but we also invite other destinations to answer or to give their approach on how they've answered specific criteria. So please, you will receive this presentation. So you'll have all the links. So please sign up to the GDS Movement YouTube channel and also the LinkedIn channel. And we will be having we're offering two Q&A webinars on GDS index criteria on the 29th of July and the 5th of August. So if you still have any doubts, questions, queries at that time, then please sign up to one or both of those Q&A webinars, and we will endeavour to answer any of your questions. Lastly, it's important for you to know that we will be doing one initial round of feedback for every destination who submits to the GDS index. The aim of that first round of feedback is really just to eliminate any misunderstandings. We will just review your whole criteria set once to make sure that all of the answers that you've given are relevant to the criteria that we're asking of you. So we do offer guidance to you. We don't just let you go like an exam and you find out in August what happens. We will be trying to accompany you to help you to do the best you possibly can. So questions. I've seen there are some questions coming through in the chat. Does anybody have any questions about that you would like to ask? Hopefully that's all been really self-explanatory then, and with so much support that you can just use any of those channels to ask your questions.
So I was just thinking, maybe Noah, you've done such a lot of work on the platform behind the scenes this year and last year, but anything you want to add that kind of will make this experience better for our DMO friends?
Yeah. First, Rebecca, do you mind stopping to share your screen just so that we can see everyone again?
Yeah, we do have one question in the chat.
Right. And invite everyone to turn your camera on as well for the last kind of discussion bit as well.
Yeah. So anyway, there are some new features or some minor changes in Omni. I think the main one that may be useful is that we've now allowed sub-users to get lots of different rights, which if you look at a sub-user that you create, you can sort of, for all those that don't know, sub-users initially were meant to be created to help you delegate certain questions to someone within the environmental department of the city, for example. And now you can also create other users for your team. So say that there's someone that is responsible for updating the text that will be showcased on your public destination profile page. In that case, you can give them access to the basic information section and the photos to edit that. And then also, making the guiding notes more explicitly visible was quite an important change for us anyway, because I think last year, half the people maybe looked at the guiding notes, the other just, winged it a little bit, and it ended up creating a little bit of extra work. So maybe this is also an invitation again to really look at those guiding notes carefully and then answer the question, because otherwise it'll probably result in some back and forth. And I'll go straight into answering the question of Laura about will you make a ranking for 2021? The answer is yes, 100%. There will be a public ranking this year and every year from now on, unless another COVID happens. And even then, we may still do it. So
remember that we rank the top 20. If you're not in the top 20, it's you have a score, which is public, but you don't have the rank. So the race is on. Come on, who's going to get in that top 20 this year? Will someone knock Gothenburg off the top? We need to knock them off. Come on, Anne, you can do it. Eileen's there. I know she's on the trial. I know Hilda from Reykjavik also, Glasgow, Reykjavik, and I'm not sure if we got any of the Copen people here, but they publicly announced that's their goal to be #1. So I'm excited. But then we see Bordeaux as well. And
well, guys, time will tell. Time will tell.
Exciting stuff.
Pat, you have your hand raised. Please, what is your question?
Yes, thank you, Noah. Thank you, Rebecca, and everyone who shared the information. I have a question about this index criteria. We've been joining for a few years already, and we experienced a couple of changes in different years of the criteria. So my question is, for this one, this update criteria in your plan, how long will it, you plan that you're going to use it for how many years? So when is the next revised version again? Because Thailand, we not only participate the index, the ranking, but we also use your criteria as part of our strategy development also. So will this be like, 3 years, 2 years, 5 years, or anything? Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll start answering that question, then Guy and Rebecca can fill in the gaps. Usually we revise the criteria on an annual basis, so every year. But some years are bigger years of change, and other years are, seeing smaller changes. This year was a year of smaller change. We only added around 4 different criteria. We changed a few other ones, moved them around. So for next year, we were planning to make a slightly larger change, specifically focusing on the social category, because we believe that our criteria there can really still improve a fair bit. So I hope that answers your question more or less. One thing to add though is that from my perspective, I am hoping that we can, once we do another big update, not change it as much, because there's many reasons why this would help you make sure that you can compare yourselves to previous years, would make our life a little bit easier also. So I also hear that a little bit within your question, Pat. and this is also something that's shared by
Okay,
us.
so now I understand. Okay, yeah, thank you.
And just to build on that, you know, we go through quite an extensive process. It's a lot of work. Rebecca led it this year, and it's a lot of work. And you guys inputted into the process. We had a technical advisory committee. We went through multiple rounds and a lot of feedback. So we only added one new criteria. We did change it to 4 or 5, but really it was focused on improving the quality of the guidance, the quality of the question, and some of the options to give more deepened use, really, just to make them better questions to guide you. We have had a lot of input for next year. Some major changes people have recommended. We haven't even really gone to start to think about that. We have an offsite next month. We're actually going to start working on this and thinking, what does that look like? But no answers now what it would look like, but whether it's a massive rethink or whatever, we'll let you know when we start working it, and of course we'll invite everyone's input and opinion.
Thanks, Guy. And Jeremy, your question about us having a table to better understand the changes between the 2020 and the 2021 criteria. It doesn't really exist at the moment in a clean format that's easily shareable. I think we'll take that back in the team, discuss a little bit how we can share that. I do see the value in it, but it will create a little bit of extra work, so we'll give us a little bit of time, because there's a lot of things happening this week and the next week. So I hope that the new criteria will be enough for now, and then yeah, we hope to send out maybe an Excel. I'll take it back with the team and discuss it.
One thing I really like this criteria and what Rebecca and the team have done is that it builds up of the partnerships as well. So it builds up of our work with Meet for Impact to improve the impact indicators. It builds off of our work with the Travel Foundation around climate initiatives and how we look and measure climate initiatives. It builds up of some of the funding processes and the kind of rethink of the DMO is the work that ECM have been pioneering. So it's really, I really like it as almost a glue that brings a lot of these collaborations together.
Well, wonderful. I think with that, I will now go over some of the next steps, which are in a way just summarizing what Rebecca said. This is really focusing on the GDS-Index for the most part, because it's really important to start early. And there's a little shout out to Skeleftier here, so well done. Someone has already completed over 50% of the criteria. That is incredibly impressive. I mean, big up to you. Very well organized. And of course, it's really, we do urge you to use the tools provided. So the benchmarking toolbox that Rebecca talked about, the video tutorials on YouTube that are also found in the FAQ and Omni, then the LinkedIn group, which is really seeking to create more of a community feel, more importantly, also have a lot of the answers that we may give to a question be shared to others as well, so that they can be searched and looked at by others. And what we also wanted to suggest is maybe reviewing some of your answers already before submitting them with your relationship manager. You have around 2 hours allocated for supporting you with the benchmarking process, and this is one way in which these can be used. And then lastly, we do have 2 more Feeling the Pulse sessions coming up in July and in August. There's also another session of this particular one, which I'm not going to talk about for the people that are in the Americas. But on the 29th of July and the 5th of August, we'll have a session for question and answers. This is literally just going to be me, Rebecca, and some other people in the team sitting there. And you have all the opportunity, all the time, well, 1 hour really, to ask us questions. Good. So, of course, also really excited about the GDS-Academy. So if you're interested, do write us a message. And now over to you, Guy, to close us off.
Yeah, so tomorrow is actually our official launch day. So there is an event with ICCA and ECM tomorrow. So if any of you would like to invite any of your colleagues, your peers, your bosses to the session, we have Petra, the president of the ECM, and Sentil this time from ICCA. We've got longer and more depth into really the academy. So if you'd like to invite anyone to that, please do. It's tomorrow. And if not, then I will close it out. So I wish you all a wonderful day. I thank our guests, and I hope it's sunny, either today or tomorrow when you wake up. So fantastic. Thanks,
Farewell,
guys.
everyone. Bye bye.
Hasta luego. Venga, nos vemos pronto.